Hi mamas, welcome to your virtual prenatal yoga class. I hope you all are staying healthy and safe and that you are practicing social distancing and staying inside your homes and hopefully enjoying some extra time with your loved ones and just really trying to find gratitude in these moments, even the moments where we're extremely challenged, which I know we all are right now. I'm sure you're feeling some anxiety. I'm sure that you're feeling some fear. And I just want you to know that I am here for you. We have a beautiful community of students and of teachers that are going to continue to provide you with online yoga classes, and I promise to you that I will bring you at least one new class a week. I'm aiming for two, but I guarantee there will be at least one new class every week. I'm planning on filming on the weekends, likely Saturday morning or Sunday morning when my husband is home and can watch my little ones. We also just moved into a new home this week. I know some of you know that we've been in the process of moving. It's been a long saga between like selling our house and then buying our new house, but we're finally in this beautiful new home in Frankfort, Illinois. And this is my yoga space. This will be my office, also my filming space and my yoga space. And I'm super grateful to have a dedicated space. I recognize that many of you don't have a dedicated yoga space. So what I recommend is carving out a little space, even if it's like I used to practice in a corner of my bedroom, and I would just like put some candles and maybe some essential oils and my yoga props there. So it was a visual reminder that was my practice space. And then I could close the door when I was planning on practicing and let my family know that this is my time and that it's super important for mommy to have this time, especially when you're pregnant. It's important to keep up your practice as much as you can. I of course wish that we were together in the studio, but this is the next best thing. So I'm happy to be with you and happy to answer any questions you might have about this practice or any of the practices or just general pregnancy questions. A reminder that I am a birth and postpartum doula and a childbirth educator. I'm certified to do all those things, and I can provide virtual support through Skype or Google Hangouts, as well as through email or text messages or phone calls. So you can still get the support you need prenatally and postpartum. If you have any questions, please let me know, reach out. I'll also be bringing the mindful birthing workshop to you virtually. It's still going to be 2 hours. It's going to be a mixture of like PowerPoint slides and live practice. So practice meditation and breathing techniques and our poses. So without further ado, let's get started. So this is going to be a well-rounded practice. We're going to focus primarily on lower body strength, and we'll work also on opening both the front and the back of the pelvis. Both are super important, especially as we get into the third trimester and we're preparing for birth. So we'll work on the pelvis. We will also do some upper body strengthening and upper body releasing some neck and shoulders. I know especially those of us who are working from home, we may not have the same setup that we would have in an office. So, things like we take for granted, like an ergonomic chair or a desk setup that we might have, and now we're like slumped over our dining room table or on our sofa. So really important to keep the neck and the shoulders mobile and to open up the chest. We're not going to do too much like stretching of the belly because I've mentioned this to you all before, that can increase the risk of diastasis recti, which is the separation of the superficial layer of the abdominal muscles. But we're going to do some chest opening mindfully, so we're not overstretching the belly. If you are in like a little bit of a back bend or chest opener and you start to feel a lot of pulling or tugging of the ligaments or the musculature in the abdomen, I want you to back out of that pose and come back to a more neutral spine and less of an extension of the spine. All right, so here's what you'll need for this practice. You'll need a strap. So this could be a yoga strap. This could be a belt. This could be a long scarf. Anything that is, this is a 6-foot strap. You can use a 6-foot or 8-foot. You could probably even get away with a little bit shorter for the purposes of this class. Other things you might like to have, and you can make your own props by finding things around your house. A bolster, a yoga bolster. So this could be like a big body pillow if you have one of those. You can use a couch cushion. You can take a couple of blankets and roll them together, or big towels and roll them together. So here's a couple examples of blankets that could be rolled together to make a bolster. So you would just like stretch them out long and roll them up. You can also, in place of a yoga blanket, so this is a yoga blanket, in place of a yoga blanket, you can use any blanket, any big beach towel. So like here's a couple of examples. This is my kid's Lego blanket. I like it because it's nice and soft. So we'll use this on for hands and knees poses and also to sit on. So if you're normally used to sitting on a bolster, you can take a couple of these blankets or beach towels and fold them so that you're nice and propped up. Here's a couple of more examples. So these are big beach towels that would work great for a blanket. And again, you can roll them together to make a bolster too. And then for blocks. So as you all know, we use blocks in prenatal yoga. I highly recommend picking up a set. You can grab them on Amazon. Amazon's still shipping, like I've been getting things in 2 days. So find a couple blocks on Prime. You can get them for like probably less than $20 for 2. Some sets have a strap too. You can get 2 blocks and a strap together. If you don't have blocks, you can use, there's a couple ways to modify with objects at home. So you can take a can. This is like a big can of tomatoes. And then put a folded up hand towel or wash rag over it. You just want to make sure that whatever you have is nice and solid, because you're going to be putting some of your body weight on it, and that it's not going to slide. So like this on my mat will not slide. I've even seen students of mine use half packs of diapers. So if you have a kiddo in diapers, or you've been getting diapers from your baby shower, or just stocking up in preparation for your baby's arrival, you can take half packs of diapers and use those as blocks. So yeah, I'll pause the video. You can go get your props and then we'll get started. Okay, we're gonna get started seated. So find your rolled up blankets, or your bolster, or your folded blankets, and take a seat. So you want to be elevated in your hips, so that your hips are over your knees. So the visualization I like to use is, imagine you had a marble at your hip crease. You want the marble to roll down from your hip to your knee. So if you find yourself seated and your knees are way up above your hips, you want to find some more height. So maybe another towel or another folded blanket underneath your hips. So that slight anterior or forward tilt of the pelvis. And then the spine is long, shoulders soften away from your ears. Back of the neck is long, slight tuck of your chin into your chest, and then close your eyes. We'll start with palms down. So palms down on your knees, palms down on your thighs. And I really want you to find here some grounding. So energetically grounding down into the floor. And feeling your sitting bones making contact with your folded blankets or your bolster. And feeling your feet on the ground. And then can you visualize a beautiful crystal right under your tailbone, so at the very base of your spine? And that crystal helps you anchor into the earth. And so you could visualize this bright light and sparkling crystal pulling you down into the ground. And then at the same time you're finding that energetic grounding, can you also find a lift from the crown of your head? So if you visualize now a crystal at the crown of your head and visualizing the reflected light bouncing off and pointing straight up towards the sky. So we've got these two crystals, a crystal at the crown of your head, crystal at the base of your sacrum, drawing you up and then drawing you down. And then can you bring your attention to your forehead and start to soften the muscles in your forehead and around your eyes. And then the muscles around your cheeks. And then around your jaw. And often we don't even realize how much tension we're holding in our jaw. So you might need to physically touch your jaw. You might need to wiggle it around a little bit. And then you might realize, wow, I'm holding a lot of tension there. And then bring one hand to your heart and one hand to your baby or babies for you twin mamas. And so now you're feeling your own heartbeat. And you're connecting with your baby at the same time. And now can you focus your breath in your belly? So with every one of your inhales, you're breathing into that lower hand. Expanding your belly. Breathing down to your baby. And then on your exhales, you're gently giving your baby a hug as your hand drops, your belly drops. Now, can you feel your chest also rising on your inhale? So belly rises, chest rises into both your hands. And then on your exhale, chest draws in, belly gently draws in. Three more rounds, just like that. And then bring both palms back to your thighs. You can gently open up your eyes and just notice how you're feeling here. Your body, your breath, your baby, all connected. All right, we'll move into some neck and shoulder work, some work to mobilize those areas and hopefully decrease some of the tightness and tension you might be feeling right now. We'll also do a little bit of chest opening seated. So you're welcome to adjust your legs if you're uncomfortable in the cross-legged position. You can come into Baddha Konasana, or butterfly pose, feet together, knees out to the sides. If you're someone who's experiencing pubic symphysis pain in the front of the pelvis, SI joint pain in the back of the pelvis, you want to be mindful that you're not just dropping your knees down towards the ground, especially if you're someone that normally has a lot of flexibility or range of motion. So you could take your blocks and put them underneath your shins, underneath your knees, so that you're not opening your legs super wide. Or you can take your legs long, separate them about hip width distance, if that's more comfortable for you. So feel free to come into either one of those poses, and then get or your strap handy, or again, you can use a regular belt or a scarf that's around 6 feet long or a little bit shorter. Start by tucking your chin into your chest, lengthening the back of the neck, and then roll your chin from one shoulder to the other. So being mindful of your breath here, keeping those long, slow inhales and exhales going. And then bring your chin back to neutral. And we'll start to roll out the shoulders. So rolling back 3 times, rolling forward 3 times, and then spinal circle, so palms face down on your knees as you slowly rotate the spine around. Trying to get some movement here in the rib cage and in the mid-back or the thoracic spine. Switch directions and go the other way. You can let your sit bones pop up a little bit here if that feels good. You can even round your spine as you go back, and then find some spinal extension as you roll forward. And come back to neutral with a big inhale. Sweep your arms up. Palms touch, exhale, palms to your heart. Do that 3 more times. Last one. Now inhale to take your arms high. Palms touch, exhale, push the air away. You're getting rid of anything that doesn't serve you, any unhelpful advice you've been given about your pregnancy or about your birth or about child raising, parenting style. Just get rid of it. You don't need it. Push it away. Last 2. Last 1. And roll the shoulders out one more time. Good. Now unroll that strap or belt and take a shoulder width grip with your hands on your inhale breath. Lengthen your spine. Raise your arms above your head. And now we'll incorporate the core connection breath. So as a reminder, this is an exhale to hiss the air out as you zip up your low belly and give your baby a hug. So we're using core control to move the strap from side to side versus just sinking into the side bend. So we'll take a big inhale, get tall through the spine. Exhale, S breath, hiss it out. Long, slow exhale. Inhale, come straight back up. Exhale, hiss it out. Go the other way. Inhale, lengthen. Get tall. Exhale, hiss. So with every one of those exhales, you're finding that zipping action from the low belly. You can pretend like you're giving your baby a hug. Come straight back up, lower the strap down, shake it all out, roll your shoulders. Shake it all out. Roll your shoulders. All right, big inhale, sweep your arms up. Exhale, palms together, forearms together, elbows together. Take a big inhale. Keep your elbows lifted. On your exhale, open up. Squeeze those shoulder blades. Keep the elbows lifted. And then inhale to close. Baby holding prep poses here. Exhale, open. You can breathe out your mouth. You can breathe out your nose, whichever you prefer. Last two. Last one. And shake it out. All right, take your strap off to the side. And then crawl your fingers forward, just a slight forward fold here, only going as far as your belly allows you to go. Tent your fingertips, so you're coming up onto like spidey fingers, I like to call them. And then lengthen out your spine. You can drop your chin a little bit to lengthen the back of your neck. And breathe. Slowly crawl your fingers back. Take your legs long, bounce them out a couple times. Point and flex your feet. And then roll your ankles. All right, we'll make our way into hands and knees. So make sure you have that blanket for underneath your knees for a little extra padding. And you want to have your 2 blocks or your cans and your towels on top, or whatever you have to simulate blocks. Again, you can use a half pack of diapers. If you have it, you can use a couple of hand towels stacked on top of one another. Just want to make sure that you have about 6 inches of height. So have those blocks handy towards the top of your mat within arm's reach. And then come down onto all fours. So bringing yourself into tabletop, wrists underneath shoulders, knees underneath hips. Third trimester, they're gonna go a little bit wider with your knees than hip width distance. We're gonna start with some internal rotation. So you're gonna take your feet out, so feet are wider than knees. So we're internally rotating the femur bone or the thigh bone when in relation to the hip. Spine is long, fingers are spread really wide, and then really press down into the thumb and pointer finger. Take a couple of inhales and exhales here as you lightly draw in the low belly. So just a very gentle hug of baby. And then start to wiggle the hips from side to side. And then cat-cow, so inhale, lengthening your spine, little lift of the chest and chin. Exhale, round, curl under, look down at your belly. A few more times like that. Exhaling to round and look down at your bump. Exhaling to round, look down at your bump. Inhaling to lengthen, extend the spine, lift your chest. Good, do that 2 more times. Moving with the breath. You're finding this slow and controlled rhythm. And then parallel your shins and then take your hands forward. So you're pressing down and forward into the mat. Extend your right leg straight back behind you. Toes are tucked under. Press your heel back towards the wall behind you. Press your hands down into the earth and forward. And then keep your spine long. Keep the back of your neck long. Finding that calf stretch. And you might even feel this in your hamstrings. So you're going to take your hips back a couple more inches until you can feel that stretch in the back of the leg. So you want to feel that stretch in the back of the leg here. Come back to all fours, switch sides. So left leg extends back behind you, toes on the mat. Press the heel back. Keep the neck long, keep the spine long, and pelvis is as neutral as you can keep it. 2 more breaths here. Come back to all fours. Right leg extends back behind you. Press the heel back. And left leg extends back. Press the heel, press the hands down and forward. Come back to all fours. Bring your hands back underneath your shoulders and then grab those 2 blocks or block-like objects that you have and you'll come down onto your forearms. So down to your forearms and then onto your elbows. Hips are still stacked on top of knees. 3rd trimester, again, take it a little bit wider, making sure we're leaving lots of room for baby and belly. Light hug of the low belly, light hug of baby. Bring your hands to your shoulders and then let your head melt down. So if you have a bolster here or another block, this is a great place to use it. You can rest your head down. And then you're gonna breathe into the back side of your body. So thinking about breathing into your rib cage and expanding the back ribs so that on your inhale breath, you're expanding the whole rib cage like an umbrella, but really focusing on the back ribs. Let's take it into a bird dog now. So you can bring your hands to your blocks or block-like objects. You can bring your hands right to the floor if that's comfortable for you. You're gonna take your right leg back. So right leg extends back behind you, toes on the floor, big inhale here. This is safe core work for pregnancy. Exhale, core connection breath. So again, we're connecting to the core by using the exhale in that S breath. Zipping the low belly, hugging baby in. So you're keeping the 2 front hip points level. So 2 front hip points point down towards the ground, and the hips are level. Lower down, knee underneath hip. And then take the left leg back. Same thing. Big inhale here. Big exhale, lift the foot. Slow and controlled exhale. And lower down. We'll go right one more time. Toes point down towards the mat. And last time on the left. And lower down. Give the hips a wiggle and then circle out the hips. So you can have your hands on the blocks here, hands on the floor. You can come down onto your forearms if that's more comfortable. You want to get to a nice comfortable spot where you can access these hip circles. And then let's shake out the hands, shake out the wrists. Bring your forearms together, interlace your fingers, roll them out. Go the other way. Go both ways. And give your full body a shake. All right, so coming back to your all fours position, you're gonna use the blocks here on the high setting. So if you've got diapers, blocks, whatever you've got, bring them to the highest that you can make them. And step your right foot forward to the outside of the block so that both the blocks are to the inside of that right foot. And your foot is angled a little bit, so your toes are angled off of your mat. And you want to make sure that you're leaving lots of space for baby. So we're open here in the pelvis from the front now. Now you can heel toe the back foot in a little bit and then rotate the knee out. So now you're externally rotated, the femur bone or the thigh bone from, and then I like here to come in and out of this lizard lunge variation. So inhaling to go forward, exhaling to go back as the knee straightens. Let's do that 3 more times. And then this is also a great place to find those hip circles again. So we're opening up the inside of the thigh here, inside of the hip. Releasing the pelvic floor muscles. And we'll switch sides. So come back to your tabletop. Do a couple of hip circles in between sides. And now left foot steps to the outside, the toes out again off the mat. And then finding that bend into the knee and dropping the weight forward a little bit and then bringing it back. So inhale forward, exhale back. So just finding some flowing movements here, working with your own breath. Last 2. This is a great place again to find those hip circles. And then come back to your tabletop, 1 more round of circles. So clear your mat of everything, come to stand, and take your feet a little bit wider than hip width distance. So we want to create a nice stable base here. Untuck your pelvis. If you're someone who has a tendency to squeeze their butt under or tuck their tailbone under, you're going to untuck so that you're in the balance here in between a tuck and a sticking your booty way out and arching your low back. You want to find a nice neutral stance. Notice where your hips are in space. And notice where your hips are in space. So we roughly want hips over ankles and then ribs on top of hips. So you want to think of a nice stacked body position here. You're grounding firmly into your feet, into the ground. And you have your blocks or block-like objects as wide as your feet and about 4 inches between your at the edges of your blocks and your big toes. Big inhale, sweep your arms high here. And then exhale, come right into a squat. So booty sticks back, knees bent. If you realize here you get down and you're like, oh my gosh, the back of my legs are so tight still, you can externally rotate. So take your toes out a little bit. Otherwise, try to stay with parallel feet. So you're down here in your squat. You're going lower, 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 lower. See if you can reach at least your fingertips onto the blocks, if not the whole palms of your hand. And you want to keep your spine long here. And then on your inhale, you'll slowly roll up from the base of your spine. So we're finding that wave squat. Inhale, go high. Exhale, go low. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, go low. Inhale, roll. Inhale, roll. Exhale, go low. Inhale, roll up. Exhale, go low. Inhale, roll up. Keep that moving with your own breath. So you're finding this sense of rhythm, relaxation here, repetition. So we talk a lot about those 3 R's and how important they are to find those 3 R's during labor, to find that rhythm and repetition in order to find a sense of deep relaxation as you move through your labor experience. This pose or this flow helps you tap into that same sense. And so we do the wave squats in every prenatal class. All right, next up we have chair flows. So you're gonna take your block, or you can use a towel here or a couple of towels, and you're gonna bring the block right between your knees, and then go a little bit higher, so in between your thighs. And then still planting firmly through your feet, and then come into your chair squat. So lowering down, knees bend, booty back, spine is long. Now, lift up your toes, press down through your heels. So down through the center of your heels, right into the floor. We want to help turn on the glutes, take some of the weight off, or take some of the work out of the quads. So we're balancing both effort in the front of the body and effort in the back of the body. You're squeezing just lightly but firmly with the block. This is great for especially those of you who are having the pubic symphysis pain, so the pain in the front of the pelvis, or pain in the SI joint. So we're helping turn on the adductors here, the inner thighs, inner hips, and then bring your hands to your heart. Take a couple deep breaths here, just getting comfortable in this squat. And I say comfortable, it's really like discomfortable or uncomfortable, I should say, uncomfortable. But you're finding this sense of your breath and this staying power that you have. So you can stay in this pose. You can use your breath. You can do hard things, just like getting through your contractions. So you're breathing, you're staying. Notice what your mind wants to do. Where does your mind want to take you? Notice what your mind wants to do. Where does your mind want to take you? Are you saying, get me the heck out of this pose? Are you holding tension in your jaw? Are you holding tension in your forehead, your shoulders creeping up towards your ears? See if you can let that go. Access your breath, hands to your heart. We'll start moving in just a minute, which will make it easier. Inhale, reach your arms forward. So elbows are straight. You're reaching towards the wall in front of you. And then on your next exhale, flip your palms, send your arms back. Airplane. Inhale, sweep them. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Inhale, forward. Exhale, back. Last two. Last one. And then slowly come out of that. Straighten your knees, reach your arms up, and then release, let it go. Take the block out to the side, shake out your leg. All right, so our next flow is goddess. So you're gonna heel toe your feet out. Go about 3.5 feet. For those of you with the pelvic pain, pain in the front, pain in the back, you're gonna go slightly narrower, so maybe 2.5 feet. Here we're gonna be externally rotated. So again, that means the femur bones, the thigh bones are externally rotated from the hip socket. And then you're still pressing into the outer edges of your feet here. So you're lifting from the inner arches. There's gonna be some glute activation that goes into this. So I don't want you to think like squeeze, squeeze, squeeze the glutes, but I do want you to feel the work that's happening there. Take a big inhale, sweep your arms up, connect your palms, and then exhale, go low. Pretend like those knees are drawing away from one another with power. Hands to your chest and breathe. Hands to your chest and breathe. Now, if you want to add an extra dimension of difficulty, you can pop your heels up so you're on your toes here and you're breathing. You can do hard things. You can stay in this pose. You can stay connected to your breath. If you've got your heels lifted, drop your heels down. And then slowly come out of the squat. Shake it all out. And then do a couple of hip circles. So you're heel toeing your feet back in. You're circling it out. Shake it, shake it, shake it. All right. So back to that goddess. We're going to move in and out dynamically, in and out of the pose. It's a little bit easier than holding it for like a minute like we just did. So you're going to inhale, sweep your arms up again. Exhale, go right into your goddess. So remember, knees driving away from one another, still pressing into those feet. Keeping the spine long and the chest lifted, and you're breathing. Inhale, sweep it high. Exhale, go low. Inhale, high. Exhale, low. Keep that moving with your own breath. Heel toe your feet back in. Shake it out. All right, final standing pose today is going to be a wide-legged forward fold. So you're going to take your blocks or block-like objects again. Heel toe your feet nice and wide. For me, unless you're someone who, again, has that pelvic pain, pubic symphysis pain in the front of the pelvis, SI joint pain in the back of the pelvis, you're going to go narrower. So we're going to play with that internal rotation here. So you can think of it as like pigeon-toed. So toes are in, heels are out. So now finding that internal rotation and widening the back of the pelvis. So you'll be able to see when we get down here, or feel when we get down here, the widening of the sitting bones, which means the back of the pelvis is opening. So you're going to take a big inhale, roll your shoulders back, broaden through your chest, and then exhale, fold, hinging from your hips. Bring those blocks right underneath your shoulders. And breathe. Keep pressing into your feet, feeling those sitting bones widen and press towards the wall behind you. Now we'll come into a wide-legged downward facing dog. Parallel your feet and then start to walk the blocks forward. So you're going in front of your shoulders here. Elbows are straight, and then drop your head in between your arms. You're activating your shoulders, pressing down into the blocks. And breathing. Sitting bones press towards the wall behind you. You're breathing into the back side of your body. Back ribs open with your inhales. Close with your exhales. You can visualize breathing down to your baby. Slowly bringing the blocks back underneath your shoulders. Heel toe your feet back in, and then come up really slowly here so you don't get dizzy. So hands to knees, hands to hips, slowly come up. We'll do one more round of standing hip circles. Set your blocks off to the side. Soft bend in your knees, hands to your hips, rock and roll it out. Shake out your full body before we come down to the mat. I'm having mic problems today, which is why you keep seeing me check my belt loop. All right, so you're going to fold your blanket or your bolster, come down to a comfortable seat. Final pose here, optional forward fold. So you're going to take your, I'll mirror you here. So your left foot to the inside of your right thigh, extend your right leg long, flex your toes back towards your face, activate the front of your thigh and the back of your thigh. So leg extends long, activate the front of your thigh, the back of your thigh, and then point your toes back towards your face. Sitting bones grounded firmly into the floor. So option here, you can stay exactly where you are. If you have your strap or belt, you can loop the strap around your foot and then hold the strap, hold both ends of the strap, and use that strap as leverage to help you get taller through your spine. Optional forward fold here, hinging from your hips, making sure you're leaving plenty of room for baby here as you fold. Sending your breath into the back of that right leg. Slowly return to a long spine and then switch legs. Slowly return to that long spine and then switch legs. So your left leg extends long, your right foot goes to the inside of your left thigh. Left toes point back towards your face. Again, optional, use the block or use the strap to loop around your foot and then hold that strap. Use it as leverage to help you get taller. Optional forward fold here. Again, making sure you're leaving room for baby as you're folding over your leg. And it's really more of a folding to the center. Slowly bring yourself up, release the strap, balance out both legs. We'll move into our final resting pose. So a couple of options here. If you're in your third trimester, if you're later in your second trimester or in your third trimester, you can lay on your side. If you're earlier in your pregnancy, earlier than about 20 weeks, and you're still comfortable on your back, you're welcome to lay on your back. So if you're back lying, you can bring that folded blanket or towel underneath your head. And if you do have a bolster, you can bring it underneath your knees, like so. We'll do palms facing up today, so external rotation of the arms. So if you're past 20 weeks or you're just more comfortable laying on your side, you'll have a blanket underneath your head and your neck, so you can fold it up to the height that feels most comfortable for you, and you may need to play with that to find out what that is. You're gonna lay down on either your right or your left side. You're gonna have a folded towel, blanket, or pillow or bolster off to the side. And I recommend sleeping like this too. So you'll have your bottom leg bent, bottom arm out to the side, and then bolster is off to the side of your mat, top leg drapes over. So you want your knee and your foot to be supported, the whole shin. And then top arm, we can do top arm overhead if that feels good to you. So you're opening up the side body a bit here. You can focus on breathing into the sides of the rib cage. Or if that's not comfortable, you can just rest your arm on your leg or off to the side. See if you can find a sense of gratitude for the miracle of this pregnancy and really the incredible nature of your body to grow and nurture this tiny human without you having to do anything, and with all the craziness that's happening outside in the world, you can find some peace and some gratitude here. I'll see you next week. Namaste.